great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion. Welcome back to the Immigration Answer Show. My name is Jim Hacking. Today is Monday, June 2nd. Can you believe June is here? And this is episode 841 of the Immigration Answer Show. I will be here for the next 60 minutes trying to answer as many of your immigration law-related questions as possible. I had an interview at the USCIS field office here in St. Louis today. This is why I'm dressed up. I just noticed that one of our viewers, Just T, is at the El Paso USCIS office right now waiting for their interview. Good luck, Just T. I hope it goes well. How about that? Live, right there, coming at you from USCIS in El Paso. Donna is here. Hello. And look at this. Nishad's green card got approved. Congratulations, Nishad. We're very happy for you. That's fantastic. Thanks for being a good supporter of the show. And we're happy that you are now a lawful permanent resident. I'm going to be here, like I said, to try to answer your immigration questions. I'm an immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. The waiting room is already full. So just a reminder that if you want to get in the waiting room early to ask me a question, you need to text the word SHOW, S-H-O-W, to 314-9. What is it? Damn thing. 314-9. No, that's not right. 314-977-4300. I think that's it. Hina will put it in the comments. Here is the link. There we go. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to go to New Citizen, Jade, Confused Soul, and Marlette. New Citizen, hello.
Hello, Jim. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi. Well, first of all, I'm sure you've heard this multiple times, but thank you so much for all you do. I have really enjoyed watching your show. I'm relatively new to it, but it has been fantastic. I learned a lot, and most of all, it was definitely very helpful immigration therapy during my last phases of my N400. As the name says, I recently got my citizenship, and I am looking to file a concurrent I130 I485 for my mom, who's currently on a visit visa here in the U.S.
Great.
And my question is, my mom is a widow, and I'm looking to basically see what the documents are that I need to get her paper together, her application together.
My first question is, when did mom enter the United States?
She entered at the beginning of March.
March. Okay, so we're good to go as far as filing. Okay. So, with an I-130 petition, you have to prove up the relationship. So your birth certificate, her birth certificate, all of her identity documents, you're going to have to show, lightly that she's your mother. And so, any photos and stuff of the two of you together, it's not a huge burden to show that she's your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 45 is all about her admissibility. So, she'll have to have the medical exam. She'll have to do biometrics so they can do a background check on her. But,
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be a ton. It's going to be a lot easier than a marriage case.
Okay, great. Do we need to get anything as far as my dad is concerned, like his death certificate or anything related to their marriage?
I would say so, just because they will want to know about her marriage status. So yeah, I would say, if I'm you, I'd want to have a death certificate of my father for lots of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being immigration. But yeah, I'd say go get it.
Okay. If that proves, because my dad has been, is passed a long time ago. So if that proves to be difficult, would another document that shows her status as a widow be okay?
I would just say that a lot of people tell me that things are really hard to get, but when I push them to go get it, they get it 85% of the time. So I would say try your best.
Okay.
I think, it's no impediment to her becoming a citizen. So I don't think they'll make a huge deal out of it, but it'd be better to have.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, for sure. All right, Jade is here. Hello, Jade.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you doing?
Well, not very well because we received a letter with 33-day count.
Yeah, an RFE.
Yeah. No, it was confirmation of our withdrawal of 485. So let me start from the end. My husband, he's a principal beneficiary of a family visa that has been filed by his mom in 2010, and it was approved in 2013. Finally, 11 years later, our priority date became current, and we filed the 1485 applications, him as a principal and me as his derivative. We also submitted Supplement A to adjust status under Section 245I because he's a grandfathered alien. I can explain about that later. We had an interview last Wednesday, and they basically coerced us into signing a withdrawal of 485. They threatened with ICE, and we have minor kids at home unaware of any of this. So our biggest mistake in all of this, going there without a lawyer. So we got scared, signed the withdrawal, and got letter 2 days later that we have 33 days to leave the country and will be put in removal process. My first question is, can we file 485 again based on this family visa and start the process all over again? And would that stop 33-day count and a threat of removal?
Yes and no. Yes to the first question, no to the second one. Why in the world did you withdraw it?
Because they threatened us, because the guy said he started to yell at my husband. First, they interviewed us separately. Me first. They just asked basic questions and they let me go. 10 minutes. They kept him for half an hour, and after those 10 minutes of basic questions, they just started to yell at him that his grandfather status is not because they mentioned that in 98 he left the country for a weekend in Mexico. Why did he leave? He's not supposed to leave. Why that? So I need to go back. He's a Canadian citizen. He came to US in 94 on a school visa. He was here for like 4 years, traveled in and out of the country. And in 98, he married a US citizen. And they filed for family visa 130 on January 13, 98. But then in March, he left for Mexico without asking first for an approval. And afterwards, the lawyer told him, oh, you shouldn't have left. But he has 194 and he was paroled back in. So that family application moved on. They got an interview, but in an interview, they started to question the truthfulness of their marriage. And since then, it lasted a few years. Then he decided to move to California in 2002. They basically separated and they got divorced in 2004. So they were married for 6 years, and that 130 got never approved. But we have so much proof that that marriage was real. And his lawyer then advised him to file for 140 for labor certification because a California company wanted to employ him. So he filed for that before the marriage ended. And that lasted for years. They finally denied that. The labor certification got approved, but 140 never got approved. So basically, in my opinion, I have some legal background. He has the proof that he has grandfather status because both of those applications were approvable when filed. They ended up in denial later on. So I moved here in 2009. There was a church that wanted to employ me. So then we filed that application, that 360, that one was approved, but 485 wasn't because I didn't listen again and I didn't hire the attorney and I overstayed, and that got into denial. The good thing out of all of that, we had to prove his grandfather's status. So we proved that his first marriage was real. And we got in their letter, in their one of their denials of that my application, we got the sentence, upon review of the documentary evidence submitted with your motion, it has been determined that you are beneficiary of an approvable when filed immigrant petition visa filed on your behalf before April 30, 2001, and thus may be considered a grandfather alien. So that was basically what they held against him on this interview, because all our paperwork was clean, everything was filed, all the evidence, because his mom died in the meantime. But we are working here. We are both self-employed. He has 40 credits, work credits.
None of that. Hold on. You're saying lots of things that don't matter. You're saying lots of things that don't matter. So who is the person that filed the I-130 petition that you are relying upon for 245I?
His ex-wife filed that, and that's the one that he claimed grandfather status from. So basically, they told us we have no right to...
Stop. You said you have a little bit of legal experience, so you've gone through this whole process without lawyers, and half the stuff you're saying is wrong.
Okay.
So take a deep breath.
Okay.
I didn't hear you take a deep breath. So you say that you have an I-130 petition that was filed by your husband's ex-wife.
No, his mom. I'm sorry. The current one is his mom, and that one was approved.
No. Again, I'm focusing on the 245I petition.
Yes,
because
that was based on his mom's.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. So if you do not have a valid 245I petition, then you and your husband cannot adjust. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So let's forget all the other bullshit for now and ask who filed the 245I that you are relying upon now to say that you had a Life Act petition validly filed?
We are basing 245I on his ex-marriage, because that application was approvable when filed.
Okay, but it got denied.
Yes.
And they lived together
because they never showed up for an interview.
Right. Okay. So so you filed for adjustment now based on the I-130 that his mother filed for him back in 2010.
Yes.
And you got scheduled for an interview.
Yes.
And you didn't talk to a lawyer before you went.
We did just consultation, but our biggest mistake that we didn't go with a lawyer.
Okay. So yeah, that's true. But do you know for a fact that an I-130 petition that is filed by a U.S. citizen before the Life Act date, the Life Act goes into effect, do you know that if that marriage never results in a benefit, I mean, you said it was approvable when submitted, it just wasn't approved.
Yes.
Do you have legal authority for that position?
What that means exactly?
Yeah. So okay. Let's remember some things. Number one is it's your burden to show that you're admissible, you and your husband are admissible to the United States, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you have to win. You have the burden of convincing USCIS that your legal arguments are valid, right? Okay. So in my whole life as an immigration lawyer, we've probably handled 40 Life Act petitions. Okay. Mm-hmm. So adjustment now, long out of status, but there was a qualifying I-130 filed before the important date for the Life Act, right?
Yes.
I've never filed one in which the original petitioner was an ex-wife. Okay. So off the top of my head, I don't know if what you're saying is correct legally or not. So what I'm asking is, what legal authority do you have that says that the marriage only had to be approvable when filed, or that says if the couple never shows up for an interview and it's deemed abandoned? I mean, I think your Life Act petition, the original petition, has lots of problems that you aren't giving proper consideration to?
They got married in 97, and they filed, or 98, beginning of 98, and they filed 130 in 98.
You're telling me the timeline. I got the timeline. What I'm wondering is, how do you know that a Life Act petition that goes down the drain because the couple never shows up for their interview can serve as a valid Life Act petition 25 years later? How do you know that? Who told
They
you?
showed up for a first interview, and they were like questioned on the truthfulness of their marriage.
Right. So
And
in other words, USCIS thinks that first marriage was fake. You understand that, right?
yes. But then for the next 3 years, their lawyers were filing like reminders, calling USCIS. She even wrote to senator. They submitted the documents that the marriage wasn't fraud. At the end, his lawyer even has, we have a letter where his lawyer said that the officer from USCIS called him and basically said, okay, that is all fine and dandy. But they, at the end, they never showed up for the interview because they got separated, and they were like, okay, we're not going to deal with that.
Okay. So when I ask you for legal authority or for proof that under the law, the Life Act applies in this situation, you keep telling me things that happened in the case. What I'm trying to get at is, any lawyer ever put to you in writing a legal theory as to why the Life Act protects you and your husband now, lo these 25 years later? That's what I'm trying to get to. I don't want to know about the timeline. I don't want to know about the facts of your case. I'm asking a purely legal question, which is, if an I-130 is filed before the deadline of the Life Act, but that case is deemed to be fake or abandoned, if that in and of itself can serve as a Life Act petition protection 25 years later. That's what I'm wondering.
Does it matter that USCIS sent us the sentence in which they say, upon review of the documentary evidence?
What's that? What is that document?
That is the denial of 485, the previous one, the one that was that I submitted as a principal, and he was beneficiary. And in that denial, that was denied because I overstayed, and he could not do anything because he was a derivative. I was the principal beneficiary. So because of my denial, they denied him. But in his denial, they put the sentence where they say that after they reviewed all the evidence, because we submitted the evidence that the marriage wasn't fake.
Yeah, I don't care about that. But what you're saying is, in the denial, so you filed a case trying to claim his Life Act protections, but they said since you are now the principal beneficiary and he's just the derivative.
Yes.
Okay. All right. But in that sentence, in that decision, they said, hey, we acknowledge that this Life Act could be a proper. Yeah. I like that. That's helpful. It's still not actual legal analysis, though, and it could just be a throwaway line. And the bigger problem for you is that in Trumplandia, they have the ability to go back and revisit any decision that they've ever made. And technically, that's not even a decision. That's just a throwaway line in a denial, right? So in other words, that's not set in stone just because they said that, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean you win.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
to me, what you need is to figure out legally that there have to be cases discussing the Life Act, and there have to be cases saying, like, I could see this being a problem. Can a Life Act petition filed by U.S. citizen A based on marriage also serve as a Life Act case down the road? Because most Life Act cases that I've seen have not been spouse cases, but rather, like grandpa cases or uncle cases or things like that.
Mm-hmm. He also has a labor certification that was approved before that date.
It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Labor certification is a completely different agency. That's what I mean about, you think you have a little bit of legal background and you latch on to all these things that don't have any impact on what we're talking about. I'm trying to get to a purely legal question, which is, do you have a valid Life Act petition or not? Because if not, then you can't adjust.
Yeah, well, we understand that. So our main problem is can we prove that grandfather thing? Otherwise, okay.
I would say it a little differently. I would say, do we have a validly legal argument that the Life Act protects us? That's the legal argument. Protects my husband. Does the Life Act on a petition? I mean, have you ever done a Freedom of Information Act request?
No.
So that boggles my mind. That's like basic 101. Everybody who watches the show knows that you have to do a Freedom of Information Act request. And the reason you have to do a Freedom of Information Act request is because you need to know if they concluded that first marriage that they didn't show up for was fraud. Because if it's fraud, there's nothing.
Yeah, we get that. Now we have bigger problem because they issued us that letter that we have 33 days. Otherwise, they will put us in removal process. So I plan to call your San Diego office this morning. I sent you an email with all of this. And but then I got the text that you're going to be live. And I'm like, okay, I will use this opportunity now.
Good. So
I am calling them.
Call the office and say, I'm Jade. I was just on with Jim and I need help.
Yeah. I will call them right away when I finish with you. My main concern is now we have 2 kids that are teenagers, 13 and 15. They're in school. They're American citizens. We don't want to disrupt their lives. Like, okay, we will move to Canada. It's not a problem if that's the case, if we have to. I don't know if we can file for any of those waivers, 601s. Because once we leave the country, we will get 10-year ban right away.
You also might be eligible for cancellation of removal. So there's protections out there for you, but you should have talked to a lawyer a long time ago, sister.
I know.
All right, thanks, Jade.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Woo! How about that? That was quite a question. Okay, Hina's giving me messages. I'm going to go over to Slack for sure. All right. A couple Slack questions. Miriam and Hina, whatever you're trying to tell me, just put me in the Slack. Miriam says, my husband has a criminal history and he's deported. Can he return to the USA? Well, that's a broad question. Depends what his criminal history is. Depends why he was deported. Depends how long ago he was deported. So anything is possible. Kairu, how much do you charge to file for a green card? We charge $5,500. The legal fee is $5,500 for a green card. All right. Is it okay if my spouse and I have a state ID with our address, but his driver's license is from out of state? Jay, I would say one of the best ways to screw up the start of your interview is to not have a driver's license at the address in which you live. And they love to make a big deal about that. So I would say, if you can, get a driver's license at the correct address, because that's the first thing you're going to hand to them. And if it doesn't have your right address on it, they're going to go ape. All right. Hina's telling me what to do. So, okay, I'm going to, let me make sure. All right. Thank you, Uncle Jim. Hello.
Hi, Uncle Jim.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Can. Hi.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. We really appreciate it. I'm the one from the immigration home group on Facebook. I was the one mentioning about the tax file as single instead of being married with my husband, and we have an RFE due, which is June 25th. Okay. So I wanted to ask, how are we supposed to go with that? To amend it, it says that it's gonna take us like 20 or an year to do that. So I wanted to ask if we can just write a letter and then have the tax preparer explain to USCIS about the errors and then how we're about to fix it, and then how best and what's the advice you could give me and my husband on how to go along with it.
I would call wherever you live. I would get on the phone. I start calling tax preparers and say, I need to file a amended tax return and I need to file it by Friday. Can you help me? If they say no, hang up and call the next one. Tell them I need it for an immigration. I don't have a year to wait. I need to get it out the door by Friday. That's what I would do.
Okay, so let's say we are unable to get it before the due date. What is our best?
Why are you saying that? You haven't even done what I said.
Because I was told that we cannot just amend it and get the documents that same day. We have to wait for like a week.
Well, I don't need proof that you can send in the amended tax returns and tell them we have filed amended tax returns, send those in, and then that's it. You don't need anything special back from them receiving it.
Oh, okay. So one more question, please. So since USCIS already got the one that says single, because this is an RFE that we are responding and we just notice it, is it best to explain it or just send the
Yes.
amended and just leave it like that?
No, explain it. And most likely the reason you got an RFE is because you need a co-sponsor.
Yeah, but my husband made more enough, so we're confused on that because he made like more than what they asked for, but they still requesting for us. They said they couldn't confirm his income.
Why?
That is the correction. They didn't specifically say it on the RFE, but they said they cannot confirm his income. So
Well,
basically, we have to redo it.
did you submit W-2s?
We did the W-2s and the 1040s and his employment letters. And no, we didn't submit the employment letter, but we did the rest, everything. But they said they couldn't confirm it.
Well, as I've said many times, requests for evidence on affidavit supports are generally very secretive about what they're actually asking for.
Okay. Okay. And sorry, one more last question. I have a friend of mine who is currently applying for his parents who are abroad, but he is willing to be a co-sponsor. So he wanted to know how to go with that, if he would be able to do it. And would he count his parents who are abroad in his household size or no?
If he hasn't, well, he might want to, but if he hasn't filed for them yet, then he would have to list yours when he does theirs, but not the other way around.
Got it. Okay. That's all. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Yep, for sure. All right, let's go to Marlette. Hello, Marlette.
Hi, Jim.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a long time listener, but first time caller.
Awesome.
Okay, I was listening to your program on Friday, and I know someone in a similar position.
Okay.
Okay, he came to the United States. His father filed for him in 2021. He came before his 18th birthday. He got his green card on the 21st, well, February 2021. And he said that his father did not derive his citizenship, do the citizenship from his, derive the citizenship for him, because at the time they had to consult someone and they said they could wait a little, and then when they consult the person again, they said he's age out, so you have to do it on his own. But his father was a citizen from 2019, so is that person automatically a citizen?
Well, again, the standard is, did he enter on a green card?
Yes, he entered on a green card. He got the green card February 2021.
How old is he when he entered the United States?
17 plus. So you'd be 18. You'd be 18 the April. He entered the February and would be 18 the April.
So in other words, when he entered, he was 17 years and 10 months old.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what was the green card that he received issued before or after he turned 18?
Before. The green card date is February 2021.
Okay. Perfect.
Before he turned 18. Mm-hmm.
And did he always live in the custody of his father?
Always, and still living.
Okay. So, I mean, I can't say for sure, but it sure sounds like he's a citizen. And here's the thing. Mm-hmm. Derivative citizenship is different than a lot of other immigration things. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, if you become a citizen by mm-hmm. operation of law, in other words, because certain things combined, mm-hmm. and then you are a citizen, right? So a certificate of citizenship, which is the N600 versus an N400, which is the naturalization process. When you naturalize, mm-hmm. you're going from being a green card holder to being a citizen. When you get a certificate of citizenship, mm-hmm. you're actually just documenting something that's already happened. Does that make sense? So
okay,
you can't really age out unless there's something with the dates that I'm not understanding. You can't really age out. You are a citizen or you are not.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess the consultant gave him the wrong information then. So you think he could just go ahead now and file for the N600?
Yeah, but remember, it's his burden to prove that he's a citizen, so he still has to prove stuff up. But yeah,
Like,
it's like what I just said. When did he enter? What's his date of birth? And
mhm.
the living with his dad is the most important thing.
Yes, he's living with his dad, and he's still living with his dad
Okay.
up till today date. Mhm.
Thanks, Marlette. Have a good day.
Okay, so could we use you to do that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we do N600s for sure. Just send an email. Say, I'm Marlette. This is my friend. You can send a joint email to us and him, and then have him
Okay.
send stuff.
Thank you so much, Jim.
See ya.
Okay, bye.
We always love it when a first-time caller calls the office or calls the show. All right, I'm going to go to JJ, then LP, then Munir, but Munir's got to turn off his camera. JJ, hello.
Hi, Jamie.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
So, I came here like a F1. I have a student visa, so I'm still going to school now. And I talked to the person who helped me to fill my my DS my DS6 DS6.
DS1.
So the DS160, yeah. So he just told me I didn't know that, and he put that I was married, so I never been married, and I never ever, so I can prove in other ways that I never been married, and that's what I'm wondering about. And I'm still going to school, so I don't know what will happen. And my fiance, she's in another state. I'm in another state, so I'm wondering about the two cases, the two things. So before I apply for my I-20.
So what country are you from?
I'm from Africa, Ghana.
And what month and year did you complete your DS160?
I complete each, my friend who helped me complete it, that was in February, and I entered in United States the 1st March
Of what year?
last year,
24.
2024. Yeah.
And the person that helped you fill out your DS160, did you say this is a friend?
Yeah, he's just a friend. So we have like kind of traditional wedding. So, but we never get like married. Like, we have like three types of marriage back in country. So we didn't have like a really marriage, and you know,
But on the DS160,
yeah,
your friend clicked that you were married to someone.
someone, yeah,
Okay. You understand that one of the reasons they gave you that visa to come to the United States was because you said you were married, because they thought that was more likely that at the end of your studies you would come home. You understand that?
yes,
You understand that your chances went up a lot because your friend put the incorrect answer on that form, right?
yeah.
So the State Department and USCIS, they call that a misrepresentation. They call that fraud. So when you apply for a green card through your spouse, you're going to need a waiver for that misrepresentation. They're going to say, if you had told us the truth, we probably wouldn't have given you a visit visa to the United States.
So I was waiting to get like this kind of question to tell me that, to ask if are you married, and in the embassy I could tell them that I'm not married. So the person who filled the form, and he just give me back, like that was like 2 to 3 days before my interview, and as I was busy at work, so I couldn't even read that.
So wait, this came up at your visa interview or it didn't?
Say it again.
Did this come up at your visa interview when you went to the embassy? Did they ask you if you're married?
No, unfortunately, they didn't ask me. I wish I wish I could get that question, so I could answer for my to tell them the truth.
Oh, so you're saying that if you get a green card interview, your plan is to tell them, oh, I didn't really read the DS160. My friend filled it out, right?
Exactly. I didn't read it, and my friend filled it. There is like two parts in the bottom, so it's written if you fill it yourself or someone fill it for you. But it was not me, and it was my friend who filled it for me.
Yeah. They're not going to believe you. They're going to think you lied on purpose. So you're going to need a waiver. This is going to be a hard case.
Oh.
Because they don't believe men from Nigeria and they don't believe men from Ghana. And there's lots and lots of people around the world who have said they were married to get a non-immigrant visa to the United States, and then when they get here suddenly remember, oh, I didn't really mean to put that there, even though they never would have got the visa if they had put the accurate answer. So they're going to think you lied to them.
So what should I do?
Well, so what needs to happen is, if you're going to get married, your spouse needs to be aware of all this. And then you also need, so the only way you would get a waiver is if this person that you're marrying can show exceptional hardship if you get sent back to Ghana. So they understand that if you don't get a green card, that would produce some hardship on your U.S. citizen spouse, but you have to show exceptional hardship. You have to show that your spouse has some kind of a serious physical or medical condition, a psychological condition, an economic condition for some big reason, not just, oh, it would really suck if JJ got sent back to Ghana. It's, oh, I have cancer. Oh, I have one leg. Oh, I have, I'm blind. Oh, I have diabetes and I can't get medicine in Ghana. Right?
Yeah.
So your case is going to be much harder than most people's cases.
Oh, so in case that I collect all the proof, like document back in country to show them that I'm single and I've never been married, like for judge or a lawyer back in country to explain it to them.
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking, it doesn't matter whether you were, I mean, they may say you were validly married and you need to get a divorce. So that's one thing to think about, but nobody's going to believe you. Everyone's going to say, you signed this DS-160. On this DS-160, you said that you were married to Moana. And if you had told us that you were married, if you had told us that you were single, we never would have gotten you the student visa. Therefore, you're a liar. Therefore, you're not getting a green card unless you can show some kind of exceptional hardship to your U.S. citizen spouse. Whatever documents you get from Ghana has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. You are admitting that you weren't married. What a letter from a judge saying that you weren't married does is nothing. That doesn't help at all. You are already screwed because you signed a form that had false information on it. And if you had put the true information on that form, you wouldn't have gotten your student visa.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome, JJ. All right. Let's go to LP. Hello.
Hey, Jim. How you doing, man?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, it sounds okay. Sounds like you're walking outside, but I can hear you.
Okay. So I'm in big trouble, man. I hope you can help me to at least clear my mind a little bit and think about the next steps. So I came in a visitor visa and I overstayed. I got here like 2017, and I thought I would never have any option to get a green card or anything. But then two of my friends did a process with this law firm here in Orlando, and they were able.
Don't say the name of the law firm.
Okay, yeah. So they were able to reverse that through the EB2 NIW, and they were able to get a green card. And when I saw that, I thought that was an opportunity for me. So we get into the process. I got my I-140 approved in like a year. Then I get my travel document. I leave the country, came back on the advanced parole that's still valid to October 25.
That was advanced parole based on the 45 that you filed off the approved I-140?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And then the process that this law firm did, it's like once I got here, they withdraw the I-485 and apply for a new one. When they did that, after like 4 months, they just scheduled the interview. And I'm so scared, man, because I've been hearing that I cannot adjust my status because I was out of status before. And oh, I don't know, man. I'm barely sleeping. I'm worried about like even getting arrested at the interview. I don't know what to do if like if I get a denial on the interview, what is gonna happen after that? Can you clear something for me? I don't know. With your experience, what do you think?
Okay, I'm going to put you on mute just because there's a lot of background for just a second. So it sounds to me like this was the plan all along. Like, was the plan all along to file the first 45, get you advanced parole, and then have you come back and then treat that as valid entry? Like, did they tell you that at the very beginning is my question.
Yes. So
Yeah,
what happened, it's like with my friends, the guys I know that were able to do that. So their process was under Biden administration. So they had their interview waived and they just got the green card approved and that was it. But now under Trump administration, like with the things we're facing, I'm super scared, man.
Yeah, I don't think this case is going to be approved.
Yeah.
I think that's super shady what they did.
Okay. All right. And after the denial of the, let's say in the interview, if I get denial, do you think they're gonna like arrest me at the spot, or do you think they're gonna give me like 30 days to
I think in Florida anything is possible.
Okay.
So what's the date of your entry into the United States?
It was October 2017.
Yeah, that's too bad that the law firm did that. I mean, I think there's an argument to withdraw the 485.
Do you think so?
Mm-hmm.
Before the interview?
I mean, can I ask a question? Did the lawyers ever put in writing that this was the plan?
No. It was just like on the calls and on that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, I've never heard of anybody trying this before. It seems pretty shady to me. I would outline all of your concerns that you have for them in an email and say, hey, I'm thinking of withdrawing my I-485. I'm worried about this interview. You guys told me that this was the plan. And I would specifically ask in bold letters, is advanced parole on a previously withdrawn I-485 a valid entry for purposes of adjustment? And get them to put it in writing.
Okay.
Yep.
And do what after that?
I would probably, unless they say in writing, oh yeah, here's the legal authority, here's the citation to the law that says what we did is legal, which I don't think they'll have, then I would probably withdraw the case because because you're not going to get a green card this way, I don't think.
Yeah. All right. And let's say after the denial of the 485 at the interview, they put me in on the notice to appear. What should I do after that? What do you recommend?
Well, at some point you're going to go in front of the judge, and the judge is going to say, LP, we know you're not born in America. We know that you entered in 2017. We know that you have no legally valid way to stay here. I'm going to deport you unless you have some kind of a defense to deportation, some kind of a reason why you should be allowed to stay. And as we sit here, based on our call so far, LP, I don't know what that would be. It seems to me like you don't have a way to come.
Okay. So the I-140 would like do nothing in my favor in front of the judge, right?
No, because you're out of status.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this is because I just found out about you recently and watching all your videos, I think like I get to the same conclusion. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, that's smart. If you want to email me, go ahead, and so I can get a hold of you if I need to. But I'll talk to the other attorneys in the office. I've never heard of anybody trying to pull this, and I'm pretty sure it's not legit.
Yeah. So it's like I say, I know two couples that were able to get the green card like that. They just like were lucky where they like would not do in the interview, So,
yeah. Well, I think
enough.
Awesome. Thanks, LP.
Yeah. Have a good one, man.
Bye, buddy. All right. I'm going to go over to Slack and see what Hina's got for me. Mabel, 1969. I have an approved VAWA, but I was put in removal proceedings. Is this serious? Yes. Yes, that's serious. You might be able to adjust in court, but that's not good. Fabian, will an expired passport for a minor affect their green card application? Probably not. Hanadi, I met my wife during her visit to the U.S. on a visit visa. We got married, and I sent I-130 online, and I filed change of status. They sent back the change of status, and now we don't know about I-130. Will she need to go to school? We don't know what to do. Oh, okay. I'll go back, Hina. They sent back the change of status. Well, did you file a 485 or did you file a change of status, which is I-539? So why did they reject the 45? If you have the receipt notice for the I-130, you should just be able to file the 45 correctly. It sounds like maybe, Hanadi, you didn't do something right. So I think you probably need some help. All right, 4 and 5. Okay, Owen, do you have to pay a separate fee when you use a second affidavit of support with a marriage case? Nope. Jitana, what will be easier now, fiance visa or through marriage? I just did a video on this, Jitana. It should be right on our channel. I'm a big believer in marriage cases now because for some fiance cases, they're letting them expire. So usually when USCIS approves the I-129F and sends it to the embassy, they're good for 4 months, but the embassy or the National Visa Center and the State Department routinely extend that. But for every now and then, they pick certain cases and they don't extend it, and then you got to get married and start over. So I'd rather just get married. Lucy asked, do I need an interview for the I-130 if I'm doing consular processing for marriage petition by a citizen? Well, of course, your spouse will have an interview at the embassy overseas. It's very rare that there's an I-130 interview at USCIS in the United States, but I've probably been to about 10 of them. So it does happen. Usually it's because there's a question about whether the marriage is legally valid, or there's a question about whether or not the petitioner has an Adam Walsh Act violation, which would keep them from being able to sponsor. So unlikely, Lucy, unlikely. All right. How about that? Munir is here. Hello, Munir. Hello, Munir. You're on mute or something. We can't hear you. All right, we'll come back. Let's go to AD. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, James. First of all, thank you for everything you do, and thank you for providing this platform and opportunity for us.
My pleasure.
So it's about my case. So I came in F1 visa in 2017, and I got married to American citizen in June 2022. So my CVIS was terminated on October 2023, but I was still going to school at that time, and I'm like taking less than 12 credit because I was enrolled in the nursing program, which is considered a full-time classes with all clinicals, but not necessarily being 12 credit classes. So I understand which is a requirement for international student. But then in April 2024, we filed for my adjustment of status for the first time. And in February 2025, my case was denied under INA 245. I'm like, there are so many things which I could not understand in that denial form. And again, and after a month, also in my denial receipt, it said you must submit the form I-129B within 30 days, but my lawyer said it's gonna take a whole lot of time. Let's just restart the whole process. So I did refile it again later in February 2025. March 2025. So we reapplied it. And now I have my upcoming interview scheduled for June in San Francisco USCIS office. So my concern is, I'm hearing a lot of news about people getting detained in the office, especially in my case. I was out of status for like 6 months. And also, do you suggest me to take the lawyer in my interview?
Have you watched the whole show today?
I'm sorry?
Have you seen the whole show today?
Yes.
Did you hear the first person that didn't have the lawyer, the Jade person, of all the bad things that happen when you don't have a lawyer?
Yes.
So definitely bring your lawyer.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. It's very unusual. You said to me that there were too many things that confused you in the denial, but you have to understand the reason for the denial. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to properly prepare for the interview. Why was the first case denied?
So first case, it says that after reviewing the evidence, a properly completed and signed form I-864 affidavit of support from the joint sponsor with all pages present and of the latest edition date, the joint sponsor social security number, correctly, yeah.
Okay. Besides the evidence of support, was there any other reason it was denied?
It says, just give me a second.
Did the lawyer that filed the second case file the first case?
Yes, so we had like all the updated documents But and again, it says you have not established that you are eligible for adjustment under INA 245. So
But was usually there's highlighted portions. There was the affidavit of support. Were there any other issues like not enough marriage evidence or what?
no, it does not say any marriage evidence or something. I was like,
So wait,
um,
so you had so the same lawyer that filed the second petition filed the original petition. Is that right?
yes, yes.
Okay, so why didn't you say, hey, lawyer, why are we getting denied for an affidavit of support? That shouldn't happen.
Yeah, and also we also don't have joint sponsor when he filed our application, our tax and 1099. It was all like our income was also sufficient, but we never plan on getting joint sponsor, and we did not do any of those things.
But before they denied the case, did they send you a request for evidence or a notice?
Yes, they did request for our taxes, again 1099, and we sent it out them.
Does this lawyer do things other than immigration?
I have no idea.
I mean, what I'm saying to you, AD, is a marriage-based green card case should not be denied because of an affidavit of support problem. It should not happen. It only happens because either the people applying don't know what they're doing or the lawyer doesn't know what they're doing. Any lawyer who does a lot of immigration knows how to fill out an I-864. So the fact that it got denied after an RFE tells me that your lawyer doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what we kind of guessed it, because when I asked when we filed the first time, he did not ask it for my any like previous I-20s, and stuff like that. So for the second one, I did tell him that, hey, I think we should just give him I-20, all the I-20s and all the transcript and the schools that I'm attending right now, and also my passport and stuff like that. Yeah, we did added that.
When you reapplied this time, did you use a co-sponsor?
No, we did not.
Okay. And does your spouse make enough money?
Yes.
Okay. I would bring a lawyer with, and you were you out of status when you got married or just out of status when you
No, I wasn't out of status when I got married. I was out of status after I got married, before I applied for the, first 6 month.
Why did you wait so long to apply?
Because I was told that, we should wait for at least 2 years, after our marriage. So that's why we waited for 2 years. But we met in 2020 and we got married in 2022, and I applied in 2023 or 2024. Yeah.
Okay. So how can I help? What's your question for me?
So I'm just concerned because I have my interview schedule, and also I already have a denial notice one time. So I'm just wondering, so I'm just hearing a lot. So I'm just wondering, is because of me being out of state for like 6 months, will that be a reason for them? No.
You're married to a U.S. citizen, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think that you're going to get, I think you might get separated at your interview. It might be a tough interview, but it's an approvable case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So yeah, for this year 2024, we jointly filed taxes of like 40K.
Well, but how much does your spouse make by themselves?
It's 30.
Okay.
And 9 for my side. Yeah.
That's really close to being not enough. So I might think about having a co-sponsor ready to go at the interview.
Okay.
I mean, usually that's resolved before you get your interview.
Mm-hmm.
But with the prior denial, I don't know. I'd be ready for anything.
Okay, so if I need to get like co-sponsor, so he should go with me in an interview.
Oh, they don't have to go. They don't have to go, but you want to have the affidavit of support, their proof of income. You have the form completed, the proof of income, the W-2s, and the tax return.
Yeah.
No, but they don't have to go. Thanks, AD. Good luck.
Thank you.
So that's a great example of people on the internet saying things that are dumb and they don't know what they're saying. So she went out of status for 6 months to try to gain the 2-year joint residency. The fact of the matter is, if she'd applied right when she got married and done it correctly, she'd be halfway to citizenship right now. But listening to people on the internet or listening to lawyers that don't know what they're talking about, she's still trying to get her green card and hoping that she doesn't, have something bad happen at the interview. So don't listen to the internet. I was watching The Pit in the last episode. There's somebody in the emergency room. They're very, very sick, and their mother is asking questions to Google while the doctor is telling them what needs to happen. Don't be that idiot with the phone asking Google what to do when there are people out there who actually have an expertise in this and know what they're doing. It's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. Anna is here. Hello, Anna.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. I called like 3 weeks ago, if you remember, about my husband who crossed the border through Rio Grande and was paroled in. I did look at the parole stamp. It does say 212D5.
Uh-huh.
And I filed for, we filed for asylum in 2022 in November.
Yeah.
And he got called for an interview in Chicago. We had to reschedule that. But in the meantime, we, just so you know, we received the interview notice for our I485. I got it on Friday.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just want to say it's probably not a good idea to discourage everybody. We are on parole, and yeah, we got called for an interview.
Good. Well, I hope it goes well. Are you worried about it?
Well, a little bit, but I think we have a bunch of documentation and it's a real marriage. So
Good.
I was just a little sad because I heard that there was a freeze, but we are from Moldova. So I am just, maybe that freeze doesn't apply to us,
Or maybe they're doing everything up to awarding the green card.
Oh, so, okay. Well, we didn't get the EAD. I can tell you that. We did not.
Here's what I would say. If you're willing to, call me back, let me know how the interview goes, number one. And number two, let me know when the green card comes, because then we'll really know if the freeze is still on or not. I think it's still on. They haven't announced that it's not. But I hope your husband gets his green card and you guys are good to go.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah. Well, thank you.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
Oh, bye. I think I heard the side character there at the very end. Let's go to Cece. Hello, Cece.
Hello, Mr. Hacking.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm calling on behalf of my husband. He was brought in the United States when he was 7 years old. That's 1992. So he's called, the people that brought him, his so-called adoptive mom, never filed for his documents. She didn't officially actually adopt him at all. All that she got was his alien registration number. He doesn't have a birth certificate. Honestly, we don't know the truth. Where is he actually from? Around the age 16, he left home because they were not very loving at all. I'm sorry, my kid is in the back.
It's okay.
I'm really sorry. Just give me 1 second, Mr. Hagman.
No, you're fine. Take your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It doesn't bother.
They were not very loving at all. So every time he was trying to call to a lawyer to fix his documentation, they wanted to contact his mom, to ask about questions, how he got in. Every time she hung up the phone. So I know that he got in trouble and he was in jail for 3 years. In 2019, we met and I introduced him to my attorney. He was able to find his alien registration number because down the road, he lost that piece of paper. And then we decided he go through and fix his documentation. But the attorney made a mistake because she applied for I-90, renewal of a green card. And Mr. Hacking, he never got a green card at all. So we waited 2 years and they denied the case. We were super worried. We had a conversation with the attorney and she decided to, she actually filed for a FOIA, but I honestly think that she didn't even look correctly in the paper because if she did, she would never apply for renewal of a green card.
Mm-hmm.
And her decision was to do work authorization, which is I-765. We wait already 200 days and still no answer. We have a child, 2 years and a half, and we wanted to get married long time ago. But when we went, they want a valid ID. And all he has was one expired voting registration number. Recently, last month, we decided to try again. We went to the city hall. And with the blessing of God, we were able to get married. I'm a citizen already. We just don't know what should we do because of that denial that the lawyer messed up the documents. I'm really afraid what is next.
There's nothing to do. We can't prove who your husband is. We can't prove where he's from. We can't prove when he entered. There's nothing to do. You can't. What were you hoping to get for him?
To get in some way, you know, that he has witnesses, he has people, how they brought him. He was a child. He was 7 years old. So do you think there is a way, you know?
No. We can't even prove who he is. He said he doesn't have a birth certificate. What country was he born in? Do you know?
Well, the adoptive mom registered him from Liberia. But on the internet, he was able to find some relatives in Sierra Leone. So we are not actually sure where the truth is, but they registered him as a Liberian.
So if you apply for any immigration benefits for him, you have the burden of proving that he's eligible, and you don't have anything to prove that he's eligible. You can't even prove who he is or where he was born or when he entered.
Well, they have it in the FOIA when he entered.
And
The lawyer was able.
how did he enter?
Well, I asked for a request to give me, you know, to send us a copy of the FOIA, and she didn't send it, but we can find it. I mean, I can push and got it through. I mean, there is an earlier registration now because he was 7 years old when they brought him. So I'm sure that's a proof how he entered, and the name and date of birth is in that piece of paper. I know that he went to college in Philadelphia. In a way, he found ways, you know. I mean, I'm sure that if we go back, we can find some pieces of paper that if we, you know, if you guide us, we can call your office, and if you guide us, what can it be beneficial, we can go back and.
If you get proof of his entry and proof of his birth certificate, then we can talk. Otherwise, this is not the time to raise your hand and say that you're here.
And what is your advice, Mr. Hacking?
Hide. You can try to push and see if you can find his birth certificate. And if the lawyer has the proof of entry, that's helpful. But
okay.
if you can't prove who he is or where he's from, you can't get him a green card. It's your burden to show that he's who he is.
I understand. So that piece of paper, the fact that he was in school also, do you think that's helpful? We can collect all those pieces and send them to your office?
No, you need to prove who he is. And school records could be made up. The birth mother might have just made up a name for him. So again, the person has to prove who they are and where they were born. Sounds like you've got a valid a line on entry, but you got to prove who he is.
Yes. So that piece of paper, the entry paper, and what else do we? Yeah.
And prove who he is.
All right, a birth certificate, or what else can it be, Mr. Hacking? I'm sorry, I'm just very nervous. We have a child, and it's.
This is not a good situation. It's okay to be nervous, and I don't mean to be clinical about it, but if you can't prove who he is, you can't get him a benefit. So you have to prove who he is. You have to prove where he was born, when he was born. I mean, you know, if he's from Liberia, that means he's from Africa, and you know they discriminate against men from Africa all the time. So you have a very high burden, but it's your burden to prove that he's eligible for a green card. It sounds like you got a valid entry. It sounds like you have it sounds like you have a valid marriage. So then the only question is, can I prove this man sitting across from you, USCIS officer, is who we say he is? And that's where I think your stuff falls apart. I got to go, CC. Feel free to email us if you have questions, okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Hacking.
Okay, hang in there, kid.
Thank you.
Bye. A tough case. All right. That'll do it for today's show. Did you guys know Lewis is coming to see me? Lewis and I are going to have dinner together in June. How about that? Our next show, we're not doing a show tomorrow? I thought we are. What the heck? Let's see. Oh, yeah, we got our service project tomorrow. So I will not be doing a show tomorrow. We're doing our service project tomorrow. So our next show will be on Wednesday at 10 a.m. I was just in SoCal, Robert, but it was a up and back as I do. So we'll see. I hope you guys all have a great Monday and that your week gets off to a good start. I'll be back apparently on Wednesday, and we'll see you guys then. Remember, if you want to get on our text line and be sure, thank you. There's the number 314-470-3300. That's the best way to. Military Bishop wants to schedule dinner. That's fun. All right, guys, have a great day, and we'll see you for sure, Robert. For sure, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Be kind to each other. Big ups to all the Yardies, especially Donna. Bye, guys. I'm great about that, other than trying to help people who are in a state of invasion. I mean,